by. Here we go. Hey. WeatherBrains episode number 460. Or wait a minute. What number is this?
No.
We've gone
just lost
backwards
us
100 shows.
You lost us 100 episodes. Good gosh.
Oh, brother. I punched in the wrong number.
Time to replace the host.
Yeah, I'm done. Lights out.
It's had a nice 10-year run.
Yeah. Fat fingers, long day. Boy, this is a Monday.
There's your
seems
show
like fat fingers.
Fat fingers, long day.
Fat fingers. This has been a long day. So I did a school visit early out of town, came back, did that brutal midday workout that I'm doing on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Did another school after the workout and came back in here, and I am dragging, man. It's more like a Friday, and I got a light burned out, Brian.
That sounds like a personal issue.
Maybe Engineer Roy will hear this and come bail me out. But like you say, Brian, what do you look better in the what?
In the dark.
In the dark, yeah. There you go.
That's what she said.
Chunk.
What? A little late. So we got the debate on all the channel. I guess it's on every channel. I thought it was on NBC because the NBC guy was doing it, but I looked up and I see it's on my channel on ABC.
It's not on HBO. So there's something to watch that's entertaining.
Okay.
Besides that, Kevin has breaking news.
I do.
Yes, you do.
What is it?
You're sobbing about
We interrupt this program for a CBS Radio Net Alert Bulletin.
I'm right there sobbing with you about the loss of the Subway sandwich bread.
I know. This is
What,
pretty good.
what made him decide to do that?
What?
I don't know. Like
What did they do?
That served me tonight. There's no more honey oat at Subway.
Really?
Yeah, they killed it for some unknown reason. So I tweeted to them. I said, "No more honey oat bread? ? Why, Subway? Why?"
Sobbing. He put lots of sobbing in there.
They'll bring it back like classic Coke.
Classic bread.
Shoot,
Yeah.
that's what I ordered every time I went to a Subway, which wasn't real often, but I still ordered it.
No, me too. I don't think they've yet responded. So because I tagged them.
And Jared's in prison.
Oh.
So I'm trying to eat more healthy, and I have to submit my food journal every day to this guy. Oh boy,
Yes, it's rubbing off on me because I tried to find some snacks the other day when I was filling in for Megan, and the snack cabinet is empty.
There's some
Talk
carrots.
about sobbing.
Carrots and celery. No. So here's what he says here. I want you to focus on clean proteins and vegetables. Eliminate things like beans and chips. Let's try to get used to eating clean proteins like eggs or protein shakes for breakfast. The snacks will be veggies or small amounts of mixed nuts, which rules out everything we have in this junk bin, Brian.
Well, you get mixed nuts here, so that should count as one serving.
And then lunch and dinner will be a lean protein with a veggie.
Not going out to eat with you anymore.
Yeah, I'm no fun. They've actually got a special. If you go to Ragtime, which is this place by the TV station, you just say that you work out with these guys, and they'll bring you the special. I did it one night over there. They gave me a hamburger patty, a small one with no bread, sweet potato, and broccoli, and that was it. So.
And are you seeing any fruits of your labor on this or not?
I've been doing it for a month. I've been doing 3 days a week. In the diet adjustment, it's slow. And I told these guys, look, guys, I am on a brutal schedule. Just give me a little time to make this adjustment here. I'm down about 5 pounds. I feel good. I mean, I did too much today because when you're in a hot gym doing a program for a whole school, I mean, everybody, then you go do this workout in a brutally hot gym or outside, and then you go to another hot gym. It's like, man, you're just lightheaded. But no, the goal is to lose 20 pounds, so I'm down 5.
Very good.
And the big question is, can I last long enough for him to get down to 20 so we can stock up the snack cabinet?
How many of you lost already, Brian? If James has lost 5, you might have lost 7.
No, I'm actually down 10, so.
Oh,
Wow.
But I
that's
didn't start
impressive,
when he
Brian.
did, so I started before him, and I'm not exercising like he is. So
I'm
All right,
jealous.
y'all are inspiring me now. I have to
So I,
do this
damn,
too.
my cord is not long enough here. I was gonna take you live into the snack bin here.
Send out a
see.
push notification.
Yeah, it's bad. If you, this place looks like the Turkey Creek landfill, but
Heaven.
down.
Kinda does.
I mean, this is like really embarrassing. I mean,
You should
we-
get the
we
little
had-
mini bags of plain popcorn. I keep those in my desk, and those are really good.
Yeah, I've got this pie. Now, most of this is legacy stuff from prior to the workouts. Is like
How do you get to the desk?
Yeah.
carefully, I can assure you, very carefully.
very carefully. I mean, it's
You better watch it, James, as your wife sees what you've done to the place after she fixed it up a couple of years ago.
Oh,
You see, there's the hat up there.
Okay, I'm sorry. The hat can't stay in there anymore.
it's not safe.
No, this room is not safe. It is not. All right, I think our guests are on here, Bill.
They are, and they haven't left yet. I can't
Yeah,
believe
no.
it.
They're probably
After all this.
close to being out the door. Steve Hewitt and Eric Becker are with us from the Kansas Turnpike Authority.
Hey guys, well Eric's on his way. He stepped right out, but he'll be right back.
Yeah. So, hello, Steve. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us on short notice and
Yeah, we appreciate. We don't mind being
eschewing the debate tonight.
here.
I'm anxious to see the ratings numbers.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah, we canceled the show for football games, but not for the most important presidential debate in history.
No, this is like Twitter. I'm turning it off. I mean, you know, everybody is going to tweet, based on their worldview or whoever they're pulling for. The idea of journalism is just gone. I mean, it's like I wish I could find somebody that really doesn't have they're not trying to push advocacy or push their candidate here. I mean, it's just like I don't think that exists anymore.
I think my tweet deck is going by as fast as yours must go on a daily basis right now.
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, the Twitter. I use Tweetbot. It's just about to explode. And what's amazing is that weather people are tweeting this thing. I mean, the guys I follow for weather, they're into it. So
That's kind of dangerous.
But I'm shocked at how many weather people, both in the private sector and that work for the Weather Service, tweet openly politics. I mean, that's and journalists that work for like traditional legacy, news operations. That's just, we live in a different world.
By the way, is there any problem with the live Big Brains Media showing episode 460?
Wow.
Drop it in there one more time. I dropped it in about 20 minutes ago. Engineer Roy just came back and said the same thing.
You labeled it 460.
Do you ever go back? James probably doesn't do this. Do you ever go back through your Twitter feed and look and see the people that you're actually following and are surprised by, because sometimes you'll look and you get a follow, you look, you follow back. And apparently sometimes I just don't, because I'm apparently following somebody called @BloodSpite. And his website is registereddevil.com.
Oh, wow.
He's going to get a lot of hits tonight.
Well,
That's
apparently
special.
he followed me at some point in time. I don't know when. I got to unfollow him now. See, this is the other problem. This is what happened. I can tell this. I know this as fact, even though I can't prove it, is that I get stuff because people are going through James's list and just boom, 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 because there are so many people there. Right?
Right.
They're using it as a farm. Not as a farm, as a source.
That's a source. Farm's a source.
Yeah. Well, I'm not describing it well, but
Trying to see.
Who's got the sound?
Anyone else hear that squeal?
Yeah, we got to fix that.
you know what the new marketing paradigm is? I tweeted something, I'm a big fan of a guy named Seth Godin. I'm sure I've mentioned him on this program over the years. he's a marketing guru and a guru of many other things. But I tweeted one of his blog posts not long ago, and within seconds, I was followed by 2 different people who consider themselves to be, at some level, marketing people who are then going to, extol the virtues of whatever service there was to me. But I just thought that was amazing, because what they're clearly doing is looking for people who are retweeting or tweeting things from Seth going, oh, this guy's into marketing, let me go get him. And I thought that was fascinating.
This is 558, right?
Yes. I hope so.
Okay,
That is
so
correct.
I just went in and
And then there's Aubrey, who gives us a nice break by tweeting a picture of Bear.
We when we came back from Ohio, Brooks had gone through a lot of his kid stuff, and he found a stuffed shark from SeaWorld, and she
Oh, it is a shark.
loved.
I see that.
She learned the shark's name. You have to watch the video. Search Facebook for the bear, and she learned shark's name within about 30 seconds. So for the last 24 hours, we've been saying, "Where's your shark, Bear? Bear, go get your shark!" And she'll just trot and go find the shark and play with it.
Smart dog.
Smart dog.
So we have 8 million Trump Clinton tweets and 1 Bear.
Oh, I can tweet out more bear.
Thank you
Stand
for the
by.
break, Aubrey.
Stand by.
We appreciate the break.
If you tweet Bear in Alabama, you'll get followed by a bunch of people with houndstooth hats, Aubrey.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I learned that GIF cam thing. I can actually GIF the video that I posted on Facebook. Oh, this will be great.
You learned that at NWA?
So
Yes, from Joe. It was one of the Joes. Joe in Kansas City.
Cool.
So we are now at the bottom of the hour, and I'm noticing the MCR guys are having a hard time pulling up the show. I just pulled up live.bigbrainsmedia.com, and it's good. It's got 558. I changed the title, and
That's correct.
for some reason they are seeing 557 on the Jabroni Network.
Oh,
They, well, no, what they do, I'm telling you, that thing is so locked down. They cache everything. If they think you're watching a YouTube video, they'll throttle the bandwidth down to nothing. I mean, it's not really usable, which is so odd. This is a television station. So let's get this thing started here. Let's do a sound check with our Kansas friends. Can you guys hear us okay? And if you would unmute,
They're muted, right.
Yeah, we had some strange. I want to be sure that strange noise is not there anymore.
Still have it.
It's still
Yeah,
there.
it's a screeching type noise.
I thought Brian had eaten some unclean protein.
Yeah.
How's that?
So whatever you guys just did, it went away.
Yeah,
Okay.
good job.
Okay.
Sharing earbuds a little bit too close, right, Brian Peters?
Yeah, well, we've shared a lot of earwax on this show over the
Yeah.
years. All right, let me get the recorders going here, and we are going to start this show.
A definite necessity to get this recorded.
Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is WeatherBrains episode number 558. This is the weekly show. I got the number right.
You got the number right.
For some reason, I punched in 460 when I set this thing up. That makes no sense.
Knocked 98 shows right off the bat there.
Yeah, this is 558. This is for September 26th, 2016. We are now into the autumn season. And Brian Peters, right on cue, a cold front blowing through our neck of the woods.
Yes, and I have to admit, my 93 high today, sure, it was a lot better than the 100 I had Sunday. So I'm ready for this heat to be over.
Yeah, I do weather support for a large college football team in this state. Not large, that doesn't sound right. It's like the players are too large for a division. What is it? Bill,
Just tell him who it is.
Guy.
You're talking about the New York Yankees of college football. What are you talking about?
See, here's Bill's. Bill doesn't care, man. He can be a homeboy. I can't be a homeboy because we have two major colleges in the state that play football, and there's a lot more that play football, but they're two big ones. And if I side with one of them, I'm hated. See, Bill doesn't care if he's hated.
No, I side with both of them except for one day a year.
So no, I'm at the University of Alabama, and they took me down to the field during the first quarter. Alabama played a team called Kent State from Ohio. And
the Golden Flashes.
It wasn't a very interesting ball game. The only plays I watched were the plays when I was down on the field.
I thought they were going to put you in, James. It was kind of weird there running back for a while.
I've got maybe a year of eligibility left. I could go in. But anyway, the official high for the city of Tuscaloosa Saturday was 99. And even in the deep south, that's a kind of brutal atmosphere for a football game, especially if you're sitting in the sun. And they were dropping like flies. All these folks in the stands. It was just so hot. So, and I was delighted that a front is coming through.
Yes, and I was disappointed that I saw your picture on the field and you didn't have your portable Kestrel in your hand.
I know I should have borrowed it, but I didn't know until the last minute they're going to put me down there. They just said, "Hey, let's go down to the field. It's hot." So I said, "Okay." So here we go.
That's not in my contract.
I'm about to say I'm supposed to be in this climate-controlled suite up here. We have, but no, it was very hot. So yeah, we're glad to see it. It's nice and cool over much of the country. Kevin Selly is in Wichita Falls, Texas, and I guess you've cooled down, huh?
Yeah, 77 today. But before we expand on that, I want to know or congratulate you for finally coming out and saying why you prefer Alabama over Auburn.
Oh, brother. Send that hate mail to 1-800-KevinSelly.com.
We did 77 today. We had a big rain event over the weekend. I was actually not here. We were vacationing on the East Coast. But Saturday night into overnight, we did a huge swath of 5.5 inches in just about 4 or 5 hours time, right over Wichita Falls and areas just to the north along I-44 and then to the south as well. And so quite a bit of epic flooding. I think the old daytime for the date, the old record was something like 3.1 and we did 3.45 in the 24-hour period of Saturday. I'm sorry, no, we did almost 5.5 inches. So
wow, quite
a lot of rain over the week in Wichita Falls.
So how are all the lakes, Kevin? We always like to follow how your lakes are doing.
Yeah, the small little recreational lake, which is actually Lake Wichita on the south side of town, is back over its spillway. It's not used as a water source anymore, but it actually was the third reservoir in the state back in the early 1900s. Was a reservoir for the town of Wichita Falls, but it's back over the spillway. The others came up about 3%. They're running about 90%.
Good,
93%.
So ship it to Alabama. We need it here.
Okay, we'll set up that pipeline right away.
We're not having good luck with pipelines around here, so
yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, we were down there by Brian's house, the gasoline pipeline. Brian, what happened down there? It's in your town.
All I can say is I won't have to pay for gas for at least the next 12 years.
Brian was diverting gas off the gas pipeline.
See, Brian steals Wi-Fi and gasoline, so it's a multi-talented man.
I have to, what do they say? You have to diversify.
Aubrey, I bet you it feels good where you are today.
Oh, it feels great. Our high was 71. It's 64 right now.
Hurt me.
We have the cold front is approaching. I can almost see it. We got a little rain. We got about 0.2 of an inch of rain, but could have used a little more, but we'll take every drop we can get.
We mention
we were wedged yesterday. I think our high was like 67.
Wow. Oh,
wow.
Boy.
Gotta love the wedge.
Yeah.
Sometimes the wedge can creep in down here where we are, but typically not quite as far west as we are. But that's awesome. And before we give it to Bill and bring in our guest, we should mention that for those that are watching live, and a lot of people are, which is amazing, we are on opposite the First presidential debate, and I have declared Twitter unusable, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I've been sneaking in the bear. I've been sneaking in bear posts in Twitter to interrupt everyone's Twitter feed.
Go girl.
Wow. No, and understand, I use lists, and I'm just looking at my weather list. Forget the news list. I don't even want to look at that, though. These are people you follow for weather. It has gone all politics all the time here. So, oh, brother. So, Bill Murray, please bring in our guests before our heads explode.
Well, James, the only two things on television tonight besides the debate are HBO and us. So we might have our highest ratings ever.
Exactly. Or now you got who's playing the Monday Night Football game tonight?
The Falcons and Saints, I think.
Falcons and Saints.
Is that right?
Okay, I think that's right.
All right. Well, James, tonight we've got a really special show. Our first guest, WeatherBrain, is the Chief Executive Officer for the Kansas Turnpike Authority, Steve Hewitt. Welcome to WeatherBrains.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And Eric Becker is the Roadway Ops Director. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I thought we'd have a little show called Toll Roads Brains tonight, guys. So, I'm always kind of fascinated with that. Talk about your authority and, how you operate and budgets and all that sort of stuff. Give us a little perspective.
Yeah, well, we have a small little turnpike in Kansas, runs 236 miles from the Oklahoma border up to Kansas City, runs through Wichita, up to Topeka and over. And we are independent. We live on our own. We are not associated with the state, except we work closely in a partnership with DOT, but our tolls stay right on our roadway. And we are self-supporting ourselves with our tolls. We have about 38 million travelers a year travel our tollways, and we're very proud of that. Been around since 1956, and pretty happy, and we're doing a lot of good things, and so that's us in a nutshell. About 500 employees, toll collectors, maintenance folks. We pay for highway patrol to help our roads, and we've got service areas, and so we've got a lot of stuff going on, and we're pretty excited about what we do here in Kansas.
So I'm always excited when I go places and they have this plate pass. Is that something you guys have now?
We've got a thing called K-Tag. So electronic customers can save 20% by using their K-Tag. Get you to go right through without having to stop. We have gates. So if you have a K-Tag, you can go right through. If you don't have a K-Tag, the gate's going to stop you, and you're going to have to pay a toll collector. So we've got that, and we're interoperable with Oklahoma, and we're working with other states. Hopefully by next year we'll have other states, so you can travel with your pass around to different states. Those are things we're working on pretty hard right now, as folks want to travel from around the country without having to stop. And so we're working pretty hard on that. But yeah, ours is called K-Tag.
Well, back in late August, the reason that we're here tonight is because you guys got in the middle of a little controversy because you tweeted out an AccuWeather tornado warning. So tell us a little bit about that situation and how it unfolded, and what was at the center of this controversy.
Yeah, here's how our situation worked. We hired AccuWeather Enterprise Solutions to specifically help us on our roadway to provide information to our travelers and our employees on specific weather events directly on our roadway. And back in August, and this is not we've been doing this since the early 2000s, and so we have a long relationship with AccuWeather. What happened, basically, we have over 200,000 people that we reach out in newsletters and information. We've really tried to find every avenue to reach our customers, because a lot of people today, as you know, they use different social media. I've heard you guys talk about it, Twitter and Facebook and all these things. And so what we do is a lot of people will follow us on Twitter. And so we encourage that. So if in any way you can, if you're traveling. So when AccuWeather sends us information, hey, there's a potential issue on a mile marker or a community on the roadway and on the turnpike, we send that out immediately. What's happened is that information, a lot of other people that follow us, then they retweet that, and then it became a kind of a big thing that oh goodness, here we've got this tornado, and National Weather Service did not have a tornado warning. And so that created a little bit of buzz. Is the Kansas Turnpike sending out weather warnings? And we're not. We're simply providing information that's provided to our private sector partner as we tweet and send out Facebook and send out text alerts to our people, to our customers. And that did created a little bit of controversy, you said. But when these things happen, we've brought our partners to the table, the National Weather Service as well, try to figure out what the concern was, because we don't want to create questions or concerns in the public or create a problem. So we've been doing that, working hard, and we came up with a good solution to make sure that when we send out our tweets, that we make sure to label those, either National Weather Service or AES, which AccuWeather Enterprise Solutions, so that you understand. And we put it on our website, and we're letting people know that, hey, we have a paid service that we have this information that provides direct information about weather on our roadway. Even to the 0.2 of a mile, we tell folks where potential issues are at, and we can tell our maintenance folks, we can have our customers know that, and you can get safe. And if you're traveling to Emporia, Kansas, or in Lawrence, Kansas, or Wichita, Kansas, or a certain mile marker, you can get to a safe location, or know that you're out of the issue of the weather. So that's kind of how this happened, and kind of a little summary of kind of how we've done things and how we're going to do things in the future.
So you mentioned that there, Steve. Talk a little bit more about how the policy is going to change in the future. Explain that a little further.
Yeah, one of the things we want to make sure is we want to bring our partners, as well as National Weather Service. We consider them a partner too. That we're not trying to become here at Turnpike a broadcast of weather to a large sector of Kansas. We're simply trying to get information to our customers. So when we retweet or send text alerts out, and then our DMS boards, electronic boards on the roadway, and different information, we're going to clarify that, and we want people to know that we have a contract of a specific private sector partner. So when you see a tweet now, you'll see it. AES has issued a warning, issued a storm, and so we want to make sure to get that information out directly, so folks understand that in the mile marker, in the location, like the community, say it's 10 miles from Emporia, Kansas, for example, or a mile marker 120, so in between these 2 mile markers. So we want that information, we're going to get that information out. So you also understand the National Weather Service may not have issued that. It may not be for all of Butler County or all of, we're trying to do that for a whole section or a large portion of the state or a county. We're specifically focused on the exact roadway location it would affect us. Is directly to focus on our roadway and that specific location within a mile or so. And so that information hopefully will give folks that are traveling, and our customers, all the customers traveling, as well as our employees, for Eric's folks, do they need to get out? They get out with them, snow plows, information. Do they get out, watch for flooding? Do they watch for issues on the roadway? Information that helps as well as our toll plaza folks, our toll collectors. Do they need to get into a shelter? So those are that we're using that information, but it will directly be labeled AES when you see that in a tweet or information.
So, to be clear up front, I think we all respect, the part that third-party weather plays in the weather enterprise. I mean, meteorology firms are very important, like AccuWeather. We all have some third-party interests, or some of us do. And so that's important, but we're very concerned about the confusion when the word tornado warning is used. That's not going to change in your policy. You're still going to say it. You're just going to designate which agency it came from.
That's correct. One of the things we talked about, and if we get a warning like that, it's very important that we don't want to sit on that information, regardless of National Weather Service or AES may be called that. If it affects our roadway and it's on our roadway, we're going to get that information. We feel like an obligation to send that out to our customers. We understand that a lot of folks outside of the Turnpike might follow us and might retweet that and might send that information out. And if all we can do is save lives and let people understand, we're not trying to create a controversy. We're not trying to create a false sense of a scared and nervous, public. We're trying to make sure folks on our roadway have accurate information about what we know, and we use that third party to help us.
Can I interrupt there for just a second? Because you said people may be
Sure, absolutely.
retweeting things like that. I am well established on this program as a critic of weather information on social media, and part of the reason is because of its perishable nature. So one of my concerns is the piece of information goes out and it gets retweeted, or on Facebook it gets algorithmically filtered to some point in time later, and then the information is old, and I find that troubling. Would you have a comment on that?
Well, I think listen, we're an agency that's trying to utilize communications in every way, and we understand a lot of our customers are using social media. We're not trying to create any type of miscommunication or delayed information or confusion out there. And we're an organization, and I'll take full responsibility that if we need to change things, and we've done that in the past on policies, if it's not working, we'll change it. We feel right now that we want to use this policy to try to get information out. I would hate to sit on information. And in social media, a lot of people get news and other weather information from this service. So I'm not trying to create confusion, and I understand things can be looked at a later date, and all of a sudden people create, oh my goodness, confusion. Was there a tornado warning? Where was I at? What's going on? I understand that. But at this point in time, we feel this is a direction to help our customers directly on our roadway and our employees as well. And so we're going to continue with that right now.
Aren't there certainly enough ways for people to get that information in a timely fashion if they have an app from a local television station or whatever it may be, where that comes through and it is marked at that point in time? Don't you feel there's a potential for confusion given time delays and specifically retweeting for Twitter?
I do. I think time delays are concerns. I think those are all concerns. Here's what we want to do. We have a lot of tools in front of us, and we want to get that information out to you, the public, and you customers, and to our employees. And then at that point in time, those people have to take responsibility to decide what's best for their family and what to do with that information. I think everybody has to do their part. We're trying to do our part and create an opportunity for folks to know what's happening on our roadway. Yes, delays happen, but listen, one of the things we struggle with is that we know about half of our travelers are out-of-state folks. So they may not have the local app, and they may not be using the app, or they may be in an area such in the Flint Hills that the information's not all there to their beck and call or at their fingertips, but they might have the ability on their phone. They're following, their wife's following Twitter, or they're traveling, have information. Whatever information they have, we want to get it to them. And so understanding a lot of folks can't just follow our particular website or they have an app. That's great. We encourage apps. You should, when you get in a car or a vehicle and travel with your family, you should take every precaution, prepare yourself. What's out there? What's the weather like that day, and where you're going? But things pop up, and we want to make sure to get that information out as quickly as possible when things do occur. And as you know, Kansas, I know for all of it, I've been through those kind of weather events. They happen every spring here, that we want to make sure that any way we can get information to folks in the best time we can, we will. I am concerned about timely things that get retweeted later on, hours later. But all I can say is folks that follow that, they need to do some due diligence and understand, hey, when did that come out? When was that issued? Does it affect me? Should I go to my phone and look at other apps? Should I look at other radars and call the news or do different things? I think responsibility has to go on the driver too.
Yeah, certainly the notification aspect of it is important, but what is the likelihood that somebody traveling through that is not from your area, as you said, is going to be following your Twitter account?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think any way we can get information, we've got to try to get it out there. So they may not follow us on Twitter, but maybe they're following someone else that retweets it, and then that happens, and they find, hey, there's a severe thunderstorm warning in Flint Hills in mile marker 110 to 120 with a bad hailstorm. Maybe I should pull over to a service area. I'm right here at 105 now. That's what we're trying to do. And if they see that and get them an opportunity to get out of that, whether to let that pass, that's a good thing. So I understand there's always confusion, and sometimes that happens when a lot of information gets massively sent out, and social media has that effect. But there's a lot of good in it too, and we're trying to utilize the good stuff because information to people is important.
I appreciate that defense. I'm sort of paid here to be devil's advocate, so I appreciate that defense there. And I at some level, I agree.
We noticed the horns.
Huh?
We noticed the horns.
No, I am. That's kind of evolved to be my role here. I do, though, as I've said, and everybody knows, I'm pretty concerned on several levels, and this just happens to be one of them with the social media.
Well, and I have to say that I joined Kevin here on playing the devil's advocate, because I think it's somewhat naive to think that if you put out tornado warning, whether it says NWS or AES, somebody traveling through your state isn't going to know the difference. They're going to see tornado warning, and they're not going to pay any attention to those first three letters.
Yeah,
they're not going to know who it's from. Sure. And I would like to ask a question, because I don't know a lot about the event. I've read up a little bit on it today, but I don't. Nothing that I've read has said, did a tornado occur?
Yes, a tornado occurred according to AccuWeather, not to the National Weather Service. And you know, we had another example. Well, here's the thing.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not going to even try to claim to be. I'm not going to. But I will defend our company that we paid, because they're meteorologists, and we paid them a lot of money to be correct. Now, I'll also tell you, this happened again just a couple weeks ago, actually a week and a half ago. The same thing happened in South Wichita. National Weather Service did not issue a tornado warning. Our AccuWeather had it right there on our mile marker 42. My folks at my dispatch used our camera. We saw it. We actually have it on film, and it never got issued on National Weather Service. Here's our point: is if anybody, you made a great point. It doesn't matter. They see National Weather Service or AES who issued the warning.
Right.
A warning got issued. You know what? That told somebody they should probably, at that mile marker, they should probably get safe. And better safe than sorry, because I've lived through a tornado. I think it's important that you have that information, that proper weather information early on. If it's coming from a private sector or public sector, get to a safe location.
And I'm not concerned about where it's coming from. I'm concerned about the potential for confusion that's going to end up with people not taking action. I want to keep everybody safe too. Believe me, absolutely. I'm on your side about keeping everybody who's safe. And I know personally, and I'm a meteorologist and have been for 50 years. When I travel, I don't know exactly what county I'm in. So I like having all the information that I can. I don't know. I just think there's an awful lot of,
Well, again, we're not trying to be the issue weather warnings to the entire large parts of Kansas.
No,
we're providing information directly on a roadway. We'll have mile markers, our DMS signs, and on our social media feeds and our text alerts to folks that follow us. We want to get that information to them, and we pay for that service. And if it's information that we get from them, we want to get it to them as quickly as we can.
Gotcha. Not sure I completely agree with you, but that's all right.
Well, I guess our concern is that eventually you get to the point where everyone might be issuing warnings, and I think that was the point. You know, that we all need to be speaking with one voice when there's a severe weather situation. But I hear what you guys are saying, and more information is good. Steve, you talked about going through a tornado. You didn't just go through a tornado. You went through one of the biggest tornadoes in American history.
I did. Unfortunately, I'm here to say I did that, but. Yeah, back in 2007, I went through the Greensburg, Kansas tornado. EF5. I was the city administrator at the time, so we had great warning.
You were the city manager. This is.
I was, and we had a great warning. We had well over 20 minutes of warning. I lost my house. I was homeless like everybody else. Rode it out in the basement. Came upstairs. My house was gone. Part of that rebuilding effort, I was there 5 years after, rebuilding that town in a more sustainable way. But I will tell you, weather events are something I take very seriously because I've gone through it myself. And so I get the hair stands up on the back of my neck when I hear about thunderstorms and tornadoes and those kind of things.
And talk for a minute. We want to circle back around to this, and I don't want to lose Kevin because he turns into a pumpkin here shortly. But
actually,
talk about that recovery. And I'm sorry, Kevin.
I'm sorry. I'm good tonight. We had to record our Fox show early because of the debate.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, we'll talk about the recovery in Greensburg and how that went through your tenure there, Steve, and then how it continues today. Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary next year. That was an eerie night. Happened about 9:30 at night. 95% of the community was wiped out. As you know, winds over 200 miles an hour, went right through the middle of town. Lost every single service that the city provides. School gone, hospital gone. There's no water, electricity. There's nothing. In fact, you didn't know where you're at. I mean, I happened to have a handheld radio talking to some of my staff, and they were telling me they're walking on buildings. And I didn't understand what that meant until actually I got out of my basement and got a chance to evaluate the community. Small towns, I'm very proud of this story. And I'm very proud to say that, Greensburg is still recovering today. Small towns are dying today. You can drive through a lot of small towns in rural America and see what they used to look like. And so we felt we had to make a change. We had to put ourselves on the map to do what's good for our kids in the future, what was a healthy and correct thing to do, as well as what would potentially help revive the community economically because everything was gone. So we made a conscious effort to focus on green, focus on sustainability. And we passed an ordinance at the time to build all our municipal facilities with LEED Platinum. The schools LEED Platinum, the hospital LEED Platinum. Very, very proud of what we did to try to make sure the efficiency as well as the utilizing some of the materials that were after that storm were utilized, and from water, electricity, to how we thought about we clean our facilities, how we capture all the rainwater, how we grow vegetation, and as well as the strength. A lot of ICF construction, thinking about heavy winds, thinking about the fact that you're going to have thunderstorms go through Kansas every year. Although it's one of the worst tornadoes ever, things can happen like that every year. So try to think very sustainable and sustainable in a more of a pioneer type of a setting where we're not trying to be out there, and I don't want to label it, but something, the Midwest, very conservative, but common sense approach of doing the right thing in this town, give it a chance to recover. About 75% of the town is recovered today in population, still hanging in there, still fighting. I still stay in touch with them. My dad still lives there. It's a small town, but it's a small town, very unique, and people travel there. It's actually got a kind of an ecotourism theme to it now, where people travel to see what a little small town looks like, all green, and how they made it and how they recovered. And it's unique. It's a great story, Kansas, and it should be proud of. And I'm proud to say that I was part of that.
Let me ask you about that. You said it's kind of an eco thing, because I remember we did a show somewhere in the wake of that about the rebuilding. We talked a little bit about it, but it's been some years ago. But I'm intrigued. I feel like I remember there was some talk of not only doing the rebuilding, especially in a green fashion, but maybe becoming an example that people would come from other places to look at that, and not necessarily as a tourism thing, but as an educational thing. Is that happening? Does that make sense as a question?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's exactly what it's turned into, kind of a living laboratory. The funny thing is today is things that we do here when we build construction here at the Turnpike, and the things that Eric's guys do are just common nature. Be more efficient with some of the materials and products that are out there today, which were not really available out there, which were electricians and plumbers and contractors didn't really like and feel comfortable using. But now we saw how, I think Greensburg is a great example of in the codes and efforts and some of the sustainable elements that you provide now from the schools, the hospitals, our municipal buildings. They can see those things. It's becoming more second nature in construction now, in areas like Wichita, where we're at today, compared to it was not the common use 9 years ago, going on 10 years. And I think I'm very proud that we did change a lot of it. We had to change the mindset of architects, engineers, challenge our engineers and architects to hey, think outside the box. I remember one of my architects at the time said, you don't want to go that far. Let's try this LEED certification is fine. This LEED Gold and LEED Platinum thing, that's way too far. I said, no, we were trying to be an example here. We're going to live this thing. Let's do it. Let's take a look at it. And we did the pencil, and we worked out the numbers, and we found the donations, and we utilized the money that we came in, and we tried to build a better community, smarter community. And it is a living laboratory today of what can be done. And I think you're seeing that every day in construction in Wichita and other places around the Midwest and Kansas right now.
I think, to even begin to mount a challenge like that is just a stunning thing. So all of you to be congratulated on that, Bill.
Well, I appreciate it. A lot of good people are still there today fighting for that community, and we support them still. So, and weather's still something that it's followed me everywhere I've gone, and it's going to be part. Listen, weather's something we pay attention to every day on the Turnpike. I mean, it affects our travelers, it affects our staff. We plan for the storms that we have. We have weather events daily, from wind to rain to hail to snow to sleet to tornadoes. I mean, it was something we're trying to prepare and keep people safe every day.
Steve, I'm kind of curious about something I'm assuming didn't you say that you have 260 miles of turnpike? I'm sorry?
236 miles.
Oh, 236. Okay. What is the communication system that you have for being able to communicate with your employees that are I would assume stretching out along that, because you're doing maintenance and you got toll booths and all that sort of stuff. How do you all do that internally?
We have an incident command center, incident management center downstairs, and basically we have our own dispatch center to where we can get a hold of anybody at any time, and that's what we utilize.
Okay, is that like you have your own radio system? Is that?
We have our own radio system that communicates both internally with all the employees and all of our patrol.
Okay.
Our Kansas Highway Patrolmen.
Okay. Thank you.
So obviously, Eric, winter storms are a huge problem with the highway system, and we don't understand the science of icing on roads in Alabama. We get a half inch of snow a year, and it always paralyzes us. Talk about for a second what technologies you guys use to understand the road conditions and to mitigate the effects of a winter storm in Kansas.
We utilize a lot of different tools. We use brine. I don't know where everyone's at that's listening, but we utilize brine, which is basically a highly diluted salt solution that we'll go out and we call pre-treat. And usually what that does, it gives you 2 hours at the beginning of any storm. It kind of keeps the road warm enough to where we can get out there to where we're in the right spots at the right time to attack the storm. When the storm comes, if it's snowing, basically we utilize just plows and we're just plowing it off. We aren't really throwing anything behind it, because in the middle of a snowstorm, if you're getting an inch an hour, any kind of chemical you're putting down isn't helping anything. So, we utilize the brine before we utilize it to clean it up, as long as, there's just so many different aspects you're looking at. Is the sun coming out? When's the sun coming out? We utilize that information with all of our different truck drivers. We monitor the rate of salt that they put out. You wouldn't believe the communications that these trucks have. We've got GPS on the trucks. We know exactly how much salt they're putting out per mile. I call it my game film. So after a snowstorm, we can look at it and we can break it down and we can say, okay, look, we did good here, but we didn't do as well here. And the challenge in Kansas, at least where we're at, is, of our 236 miles, we've got 150 of it through the Flint Hills, and the wind blows and there isn't a whole lot out there. So, it's good to look at the game film after a snowstorm to where we can kind of make sure that we're keeping the road going.
Just to clarify, you say you're using brine or Brian? Because our brine's
brine.
pretty salty too. So.
Thank you. Thank you. I get no respect around here, guys. So,
and also you've got a difficult stretch there where you've had some serious flooding. In 2003, there was a significant event where some people were killed, and maybe some people after that. What are you doing to mitigate, that flooding problem along that section of the turnpike?
Well, we've invested millions of dollars in improving our culverts. Those are original culverts on some creek beds that needed to be enlarged. And we've recently just passed a long-term needs study, which is basically our capital improvement plan over the next 10 years to invest $1.2 billion into our roadway. And that includes some major drainage improvements to those areas in the Flint Hills where this happened. And we'll have those wrapped up hopefully by Thanksgiving. They'll be completed. And we've gone from a 25-year flood to handle a 100-year flood. So it's more than double the size of water we can handle in a storm to keep it off the roadway. Because what happens is those creeks in the water today in heavy storms, as you know, in Kansas, we just couldn't handle the water, couldn't handle the drainage. We feel like we can handle a 100-year flood now, and we're very pleased about that. We're investing lots of money, and we're taking a look at all those things all across. We're actually looking at two others in south of Wichita, culverts to keep drainage and get that water out of here. So those are things we're investing in. A lot of money, to make sure that we keep people safe. Safety is the number one thing we think about here at the Turnpike.
Just out of curiosity, and I don't want you to give away any proprietary secrets, but does any of this include monitoring temperature of roadways?
Yes, we've got roadway sensors out there that we utilize for all of our weather, or all of our winter weather.
I'm envious because that's wonderful.
Yeah, and actually we share that with all over. I mean, a lot of people, we share it with our DOT partners, we share it with AccuWeather, we share it with, I think the Weather Service gets it. So, I mean, we have, I think there's like 12 RPUs out there that we utilize.
How do those work? Are they embedded in the pavement? Are they next to it?
We've got some of them in the pavement right before bridge decks, some of them on the bridge decks because the bridge decks will get colder before the rest of the road. So we like to get the coldest spots first. We like to get the spots that gives us the information we need quicker than out in the road necessarily.
And how is that data transmitted back to your location?
It's a puck, and basically it sends it's all wired, hardwired in and electrical into our network system.
Oh,
so it comes back.
Fascinating. I wish we had some of that here. That was what caused a major problem in the Southeast back a few years ago. We didn't, as meteorologists, we didn't understand what was happening to the street level.
Well, it's because you didn't have enough brine on the roadway.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian.
I wanted to follow up on that. Do you have a criteria for dealing with winter weather? Do you have some sort of criteria where you might question or sort of signal to AccuWeather, to your private firm, when you see temperatures at a certain value, or do they just use that data and then let you know how they think things are going to change?
They're giving us the information, and we utilize the information to attack it. So, okay. I mean, we did talk recently about something, and they wanted to kind of follow up. In other words, like after an event where we follow up with them, and I said we would do that. That's no big deal. But we utilize that information. I've got 9 maintenance foremen out there, 2 superintendents, and they're watching every weather. They got 3 apps on their phone. They're getting AccuWeather. They're getting phone calls from me. They're getting and we've got troopers on the road 24/7, 365. So we've got information where we're out there, and to us, we would much rather be out there and be ready to get after it than get an hour behind it.
Right. And will those temperature values help you make the decision to close the turnpike, or do you not close the turnpike?
We've never closed the turnpike.
Okay.
This is Kansas, Brian.
I know.
When do you close the turnpike?
Well, not for winter weather. We have for accidents, or like if an accident has the roadway snarled or something. But
now, have you closed it for a flood or anything else?
Yeah, it's been closed for the flood incident, like back in 2003. Or other accidents. We'll close it for that. But I mean, it would have to be something that basically was impede traffic from moving forward. But in most cases, Eric's guys are out there in front of folks, getting with the blades out, getting things cleaned off, and listen, we encourage folks to pay attention, and we don't want you to travel in bad weather, but we also understand that we are a major thoroughfare from folks from the north to the south, and we do our part to keep it open and safe.
See, you guys have something we don't have down here in the south. You have blades. You have snowplows.
Yeah,
and we got Brian.
Those are very foreign.
Hey, so let me go back to the tornado thing. I'm sorry if you covered this earlier. I apologize. I was writing some weather. From reading some of the articles here, and this is one from KSN.com. It says that the headline says some changes might be on the way for how the Kansas Turnpike Authority handles severe weather alerts. From what I'm hearing you guys say, there's going to be no changes. Is that true?
No, there's changes. What we didn't do is we didn't label the information we sent out. We didn't make it a public information setting from our standpoint of putting on our website. sending out our tweets and information. No, we didn't send it out. What we did is we paused for a week or so, and we took a step back and reevaluated what we're doing. We met individually with our partners. We met individually with the National Weather Service, and then we actually brought them together in one big meeting to figure out how we were going to move forward. And we set a plan together. Listen, we're going to make sure we label our information. We had never done that before. We're going to let people know, understand it's coming from AccuWeather or it's coming from the National Weather Service, so that we understand that information. And we're not an agency that is trying to predict, try to send mass information out, but focus directly on our mile markers, directly on our roadway. We're focused on within 1 mile of our roadway is where we're focused on. Anywhere beyond that is not something we're going to tweet out. We're not going to send information. AccuWeather's not even looking at that for us. They are focused on direct mile marker roadway. So we did make some changes. Now, they're not major changes, but we wanted the information to clarify where it's coming from, how we do it. But if it's a tornado warning, as I said earlier, we're going to get it out. We're going to say if it came from AccuWeather, we're going to say it was issued by AccuWeather, and it's these mile markers, and this is where it's affected. And so our customers and our staff will know.
If a local television station in, say, Wichita starts issuing their own warnings, and they have a warning out for part of your turnpike, will you broadcast that warning as well?
I think if we have that information, absolutely. Any information we get from a credible source, we'll get it out there.
So you would do from the National Weather Service too, then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We consider them a partner as well. And they obviously broadcast the statewide, but if we get information from the National Weather Service that there's some type of a storm event, a tornado, or anything else, we're going to get that information out to our customers. Our customers need to know information when it comes to us. We want to get it to them.
Let me ask the weather guys on the show here. How long has AccuWeather been issuing their own warnings? I didn't know they did that. Kevin, I know you know. Oh, Kevin.
I'm sorry. No, I don't. This was new to me.
So, Brian or Bill, do you know?
I think it's probably longer than any of us realize because they're issuing them to their clients.
Private companies, right. Exactly.
Right. And I think in most cases, probably a lot of clients are not doing what the Kansas Turnpike Authority is doing, is trying to get that information out to their clients, which are the general public and the people on their roadways.
Listen, we're an anomaly. We understand from the private sector, say some of these larger companies that AccuWeather works for, because a lot of our travelers, I want to repeat this, a lot of our travelers are from out of state. And so different folks that travel use different ways of trying to get information. So that's why we felt like even social media was important to get that information. We're not going to sit on it. If we have information, we're not going to say, hey, we're not going to send it out. If we have an opportunity to get information out, and we're going to be very accurate with that information of where it's at on the mile markers or communities on the turnpike, then we're going to do that because we just feel it's important. We're different than a private company. I just isolate on our campus. Our campus is 236 miles long, and we have so many out-of-state visitors and travelers. So we do whatever we can to reach whoever's on the turnpike.
So what happens? Go, Kevin.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what happens if AccuWeather issues a warning for a certain mile marker? The Weather Service issues a warning and mentions different mile markers. A local TV station issues a warning and they deal with different mile markers. Do you just warn all those mile markers? How would you handle that when there's confusion and confliction in these warnings?
Well, I think that's part of the labeling system. I think we would issue that, if for example, and I hope this doesn't happen, but AccuWeather says mile marker 1 to 2, and National Weather says, well, we got one at 10 to 12, and we would send that information out. We'd label it correctly and make sure they understand, because it's important that we get information to the public, even if it's because we understand the National Weather Service has a lot of spotters, and they may on the ground see something that other folks don't have or AccuWeather doesn't have. I mean, when we had our combined meeting, which I got to tell you, that's a lot of smart people in one room talking about weather. They understand the need that the private sector brings, and we understand what the National Weather Service and a public sector and the mass information have, because we understand that the televisions, the radio stations use National Weather Service. We understand that, some of our customers specifically follow us in a certain way, and we want to get that information to them as well. So that's important to us to do. Get it that way, get it to them.
Hey, James.
Yo.
I got some breaking news. Do you have the breaking news thing?
Oh, goodness. This could be good or this could be bad.
We interrupt this program for a CBS Radio Net Alert Bulletin.
I'm just now seeing this cross that AccuWeather is going to start issuing 45-day tornado warnings.
I had a feeling that something like that was coming.
I'm sorry.
Ah, boy.
He couldn't resist.
No, I couldn't.
And for those that don't know, they're issuing, what is it, 90-day forecast now?
Yeah. 90 days now.
So you can basically look at their app and it will give you a very specific forecast for like Thanksgiving Day. And, you know, we had a guest on the show from AccuWeather. And listen, we don't want the weather enterprise to be in a big brawl. That's not going to do any good. We have to be unified. We have to be on the same page. But this product is just rogue. It is. There's no skill in that. There's no skill in that. And when we asked the gentleman who was on the show one time, how do you justify that? What's your verification statistics? Is there any skill? He never answered the question. He kept saying, well, people want it. They love it. They want it.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
So my come back to that. Well, people would love a machine where if they crank a couple of levers here, they can control the weather and make it sunny and 70 on Christmas Day right now. You know, I could sell that all day and people would want it, but it's a scam, you know?
I'm working on that machine.
So that is a bizarre product. And I don't know how you could offer that with a straight face to the you Turnpike guys aren't using their 90-day public forecast, are you?
No, we're not doing that. Although I wish I could as well. It'd be nice to know that on Thanksgiving Day I could go golfing, but we're not working on that right now.
But that's what these guys are selling right now. It is just strange. And my position is this: I don't like it. When it comes to life-threatening weather, we know without a doubt, and for you guys in Kansas, in my state, 5 years ago, 252 people were killed by tornadoes in one day. And we know part of the problem that day was confusion. And a lot of that was our fault. There were a lot of other things at play here, but we know that confusion is a big deal, and confusion will tend to reduce someone doing something, because they hear this from one guy and this from one guy and this from another guy and this from somebody else. And after a while, they throw their hands up and they just don't believe anything. And this is just, we're not going to do anything. And if every private weather business, and I guess the Weather Channel is going to start doing this soon. If AccuWeather's doing it, what's to stop them? What's to stop, local TV stations from issuing their warnings? And I see that coming real soon with all these, consultant goobs that are at work here. So you got, all these people with the apps, and then you got all the TV stations and the Weather Channel issuing their own warnings, and they're all sending different messages, giving different locations, and it will just be mass chaos. And it just isn't right. And I don't understand why they've gone rogue. I have no trouble. I'm a big capitalist guy. Great. Sell the information. Do private forecasting. That is awesome. You ought to be doing that. But when it comes to that, let's say AccuWeather in my market, if they come up and issue a tornado warning for Interstate 22 between mile markers 35 and 39, and so all these people out there on the road, the people in the car are sending us tweets or whatever, what's the deal with the tornado warning? I don't know anything about it. Weather Service hadn't issued one. We don't see anything. And it's just chaotic and confusion, and I just don't like it. But I think you guys at least have the right attitude of trying to do the right thing despite all this conflicting information. It's just troubling for us. I wish I could get the Weather Enterprise, lock us in a room, a padded cell, and we stay in there for 8 hours or 8 days or 800 days, and we come out unified using a simplified warning system with the same color scheme, the same call to action, the same dissemination. We'll communicate it differently because we're different people. We're humans. But it's a simplified, unified message. And I don't know why we cannot do that. And instead of coming together, I see the Weather Enterprise is pulling apart with everybody going rogue. Some of these products are just bizarre, coming from some of these things. So I don't know. It just Sorry, Bill. It gets on my nerves.
Hey, Steve, how warm does it have to be on Thanksgiving for you to golf?
About 50.
Well, according to AccuWeather, you ain't going to golf on Thanksgiving.
That's all right. Wife probably doesn't want me to anyway.
47 degrees is their high.
So fellas, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that? You got what's the Twitter account you guys have?
Well, I would actually go to ksturnpike.com. All our information is right there. You go to our website, information. You can follow us on Twitter, Kansas Turnpike. Can't miss us. And we want to get information. We follow us and do all that. If you're traveling, we're going to have all that information on there.
And we have your website in a little section of our show notes that says websites that you may have heard about on the show. I already have the Kansas Turnpike Authority's website. And by the way, I love your website. It seems to be very easy to get around.
Great. That's good to hear. Good feedback.
And guys, thanks for coming on the show tonight. You guys have a great heart, great passion for doing things right. We appreciate it. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, you guys have a great night. Okay, so let's see here. What we're going to do is take a break. I'm trying to look over here. Aubrey, now, Kevin, if you're on not having to do a newscast, what's Aubrey doing right now?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, she says she's listening.
She says she's listening.
So they must be doing a live newscast during the middle of this debate, which is strange. I don't think anybody would be doing that.
Our station, we operate a Fox, and we've only got the one studio. And I guess the concern was if Fox is covering the debate, then we couldn't be producing two newscasts at the same time. So we recorded early.
Okay. Aubrey sent a note. She's doing a newscast on one of their .2s, kind of like we're doing WeatherBrains on the .2 here. So anyway, when we get out of these recorded segments, we'll have Aubrey do an email segment. We'll do picks of the week. We will do a weather roundup and much more as WeatherBrains rolls along.
WeatherBrains 101 with Professor Peters.
There are definitely two pieces of equipment which have provided meteorologists with vast amounts of knowledge about our atmosphere, and those are radar and satellite. These provide a visualization of rain and clouds. Being visual tools, we see things in those displays that get names, often reflecting the image. One such occurrence on radar, often seen with supercell thunderstorms, is the V notch. A V notch is a radar reflectivity signature seen as an absence of precipitation in a V-shaped notch in the downwind part of a thunderstorm echo. The V notch is thought to be a sign of diverging flow around the main storm updraft, indicating the presence of a very strong updraft. Now, this radar signature does not necessarily foretell a tornado, but it is usually only seen with the strongest and tallest supercells, characteristics that correlate with those more likely to produce a tornado. The V notch, also sometimes referred to as the flying eagle, is seen in the upper part of the precipitation shield, usually northeast of the Hook Echo area of the storm. This term should not be confused with inflow notch or with enhanced V, although the enhanced V seen on satellite images is believed to form by a similar process. If you have a question about the weather, drop an email to question@weatherbrains.com.
Looking beyond the atmosphere, here's Tony Rice with your Astronomy Outlook.
You may have heard recently that NASA added a 13th sign to the zodiac, or that NASA had changed your zodiac sign. Well, that's not quite true. NASA has no interest in your horoscope, and only a scientific one in the zodiac. The sun's apparent path through the sky is called the ecliptic. Ecliptic passes through each of the 12 constellations of the zodiac, which is Greek for animal circle. Problem is, the ecliptic passes through 13 constellations. The International Astronomical Union recognizes 88 constellations. The boundaries that define these constellations serve a very practical purpose for astronomers. They define neighborhoods in the sky, and along with it, a naming convention for the most recognizable stars. For example, Alpha Scorpii is the brightest star in the constellation Scorpius. Beta Scorpii is the second brightest. Stars within each neighborhood are identified in order of brightness, using the Greek alphabet. Centuries ago, the Babylonians carved the ecliptic into 12 pieces. Now, this was likely in deference to the 12-month lunar-based calendar. They assigned each constellation to the month the sun spends most of its time in. Ophiuchus, which is nestled between Sagittarius and Scorpius, was there all along, but it didn't make the cut. Now, if this new zodiacal constellation isn't enough to turn an astrologer's world upside down, many were surprised to learn that they've been looking at the wrong horoscope all their lives. For example, if you're born today, September 26th, the horoscope section of your morning paper might tell you that you're a Libra. Perhaps that was true a couple centuries ago, but due to the Earth's wobble, stars have shifted relative to the sun's position in the sky. That, plus the omission of Ophiuchus, has introduced a nearly 1 month error. So, if today's your birthday, happy birthday. You're actually a Virgo, not a Libra. I learned that I'm not a Cancer, but I'm actually a Gemini. This revelation has brought no new meaning to my life, but hey, the math was fun to do. Visit me on Twitter at RTPHokey for the technically correct, which is the best kind of, the only kind of correct, zodiac date list.
When the weather ball is red, warmer weather is ahead. When the weather ball is white, colder weather is in sight. When the weather ball is green, no change in the weather is foreseen. When colors blink by night or day, precipitation's on the way.
So we are doing this on Monday, September 26, 2016. I guess the big news is that we have cool air beginning to drop southward, covering much of the country. The other big news, we have an invest in the Atlantic creating all kind of a buzz. So this is invest number 97. And most models, including the global models, want to make this thing take a hard right turn in the Caribbean. Instead of shooting up toward the Gulf, comes across Hispaniola, the Southeast Bahamas, and from there, if this happens, where it goes, nobody knows. The analog to this is this, perhaps. This is an interesting storm. This is Hurricane Hazel from 1954. That was the year that Brian started working for the National Weather Service, right?
Right.
But Hazel had a very similar situation. It did a hard right. I mean, a very hard right. Right over the central Caribbean, came across the western tip of Hispaniola, and then this one wound up coming up into the Carolinas. But again, we just don't know, the ultimate track here. There's so many questions. In fact, let's take a look at the GFS ensemble, and all the members keep it out of the Gulf. I think there's 20 members. The mean keeps it offshore, and most of the members keep it offshore. But so, Kevin, where's this thing going? Galveston? You know it all.
You're muted, Kevin.
Hello.
Sorry. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I could, yeah. Well, no, I can't. Never mind.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I can't. It's company private.
Okay. But anyway, that's, but, and, of course, all these boneheads, start posting the 384-hour GFS maps that show a Category 5 coming up to Galveston,
yeah, it
Mobile Bay, New Orleans.
It was just east of Galveston a couple of days ago, as I recall. I've been a little bit off the grid since I was on vacation, but yeah.
And I'm telling you, if you come up against I did a tweet. I said, "Do me, dear internet, do me a favor. Do not post 384-hour model output. Love, your pal James." So a bunch of guys just said, "You shouldn't be insulting your fellow meteorologists that way. There's great skill in this, and they're basically saying that I'm some old geezer, and I'll admit that doesn't know anything, and I'm not enlightened." So if all you guys that can forecast the placement and intensity of a hurricane 300 hours in advance or longer, here's my challenge to you. How about putting together a scientific paper, submit it to the AMS or one of the journals for peer review, and let's get it published so the Weather Enterprise can take advantage of your Einstein knowledge on long-range tropical forecasting. I challenge you guys, all you guys that just don't like me, because I dare say there's no skill in 384 hours in forecasting a tropical cyclone. Here's my triple dog dare to you. Submit a paper, to one of the journals of the AMS for peer review. Let your peers review your excellent work, and let's publish that sucker and share the wealth so our friends at the National Hurricane Center can start doing 15-day hurricane forecasts. So I'm sorry.
Wait, breaking news.
Oh, wow. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's a busy news night here.
We interrupt this program for a CBS Radio Net Alert Bulletin.
Perhaps in response to your rant, AccuWeather is now announcing they're going to be doing 90-day hurricane landfall forecasts.
Great. There you go. All right. Well, while we have...
I should say, I have a lot of respect for a lot of the people at AccuWeather. I think they're very smart people. Same thing at the Weather Channel. Very smart people. I just think there are a few bad seeds at the top that drive some of this stuff. And so no disrespect intended to AccuWeather rank and file.
No, this is not. I agree. It's like I have a lot of friends who work at the Weather Channel. Right. Most of this is out of their control. And the same thing for AccuWeather. And don't you know that a lot of the AccuWeather professional meteorologists are just having to bite their tongue,
right?
And they have to support it. They have to get it put on this public face. Well, our 90-day forecasts are accurate, and we're AccuWeather, and they're good.
Yes.
When deep down inside, they're thinking, man, this is just.
Yes, I think that's what happened during the David Kenny days at the Weather Channel, and I felt really bad for a lot of people over there that they had to put up with that nonsense that came from him.
Yeah. So again, right. This is nothing personal on anybody. It's just it goes back to we've got to be consistent across the weather enterprise. And look, there's nothing we can do about Joe Bob's Weather Center and Facebook page.com, where we want you to click and like and share, because we can in the winter storm, guys, they're about to be at it again. Here we are in September. We're probably going to have these guys forecasting, winter storms 2 months in advance, or 1 month in advance. That's going to be happening really soon. And don't you dare come up against those guys. They're brutal. And what they've learned, here's the trick with these guys. If you do a snowstorm forecast 5 weeks in advance, they have a loyal following that loves snow and love the excitement and love the hyperbole that comes with it. Forget whether it happens or not. They don't care. They just get hung up in the moment. And if you dare suggest that they don't need to be doing 5-week winter storm forecasts, all those loyal likers on their Facebook page will come back and attack you big time. So,
yeah. You know what, though? I've been thinking about this a lot since you said it, and it was kind of an offhanded comment. I think you swerved into it, maybe not thinking it through. But a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about social media, and you were talking about these guys that go off and do these crazy things, especially on Facebook. And you said something about, well, we certainly don't want to squash the meteorological curiosity and education of especially young people who are wanting to do this kind of stuff, right? We can't squash that. And you said something about, well, I think your point was to say, well, maybe they need a place to do that. But I've thought about this a lot. It's like, where is that place going to be? Facebook is it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Comment?
No, they're there, and I think a lot of these young men and women, and again, these are typically, 14, 15, 16-year-olds that just love weather, and they get carried away, and they don't understand the limitations, and they see some model map, and they post it. I think a lot of them are also using Snapchat to accomplish that. They love that because they know a lot of us can't see their products. They push it directly to their followers without it being in the public domain so the professionals can see it. And they're using some back channels and maybe even Instagram, because that's where they hang out. The young people don't use Facebook. It's just
well, I just thought a lot about it because I thought it kind of argued my point of that we legitimized those platforms as weather platforms because we're putting stuff there that is, in theory, has some sort of credibility to it. But then you can't parse that out. Of the people who are doing, even the 35-year-old who's a weather enthusiast who may or may not have some skill or some talent at it. But I kept thinking to myself, well, where are they going to go? I mean, if we created a place for them, that's no good. I mean, no one's going to go to, weather forecasts you shouldn't look at.com.
Show title, and that's a good show title.
There you go.
I like that. I just thought that was really kind of interesting. Where else are they going to go? So
no, there's nowhere to go. They figured out Facebook. They figured out the likes, the
Right.
shares, the clicks.
Right.
They know the most outrageous products will be shared and get the likes. And what they really don't need to do is ask. You don't have to. Almost every time they issue one of these outrageous forecasts, they say, please like and share. You really don't need to do that because they're going to do that anyway, because you're giving the weather weenies of the world this great hyperbole and this hype and this crazy stuff that they like. They don't care if it's true or not. And it's just, I've seen Joe Bob's Weather Center on Facebook in some cases have way more likes than the local television meteorologist or the National Weather Service in that market because of their hyperbole stuff. But hey, we got to get Aubrey on here. I'm looking at the clock. She's there. We've got email, so let's open up that email inbox.
Letters. We get letters. We get stacks and stacks of letters.
So I guess I left my camera on when I went to go do show. I had the wrong show pulled up, so I had the 11 pulled up in the rundown. So I was checking to see what story I came behind, and all of a sudden in my ear I hear, Aubrey to the wall, Aubrey to the wall.
Whoop. Ah! Uh-oh. Whoops.
So I pulled out my earbud and I ran to the wall, and I still had part of the earbud in my ear. So at the end of weather, I thought I lost an earring, and it was actually just the inside of the earbud. Wow. Oh, Monday.
How not to mix actual work and WeatherBrains.
Fashion forward.
Whoops. All right. So we only have one email this week. This is from, oh, come on. What's his name? I don't have his name, but he's from, is it Dubuque, Iowa? Dubuque, is that how you pronounce it?
That's how I would pronounce it.
Found us through a Google search shortly after some weather friends told me about the show at a Skywarn class. Appreciates us, likes the show and everything. We appreciate you as a listener and a viewer, but wants us to maybe do a show or more devoted to teaching young fans about the weather and career as a meteorologist. And Kevin thought it would be cool if maybe we did that with someone from the National Weather Service, which I'm not sure how many shows we've done about a day in the life of James Spann.
That would be the most boring program ever.
We know he gets up at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
4:52
just
to be specific.
4:52.
4:52.
I haven't slept since 1973.
And that's bad for you, James. While you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to be healthy, you need to get more sleep.
Amen.
As your weather doctor,
Yeah.
I'm ordering more sleep.
Yeah, no, I don't know what to do about that. I mean, it's just in this day and age, it is impossible to get off the grid, and it's just hard.
It is, and it's tough with our job, especially working late nights. We're under bright lights. I mean, I've had my own issues with sleeps and vivid dreams. I feel like I still work at Chili's sometimes in my dreams. But the bright lights, and being in front of a screen, we're constantly in front of a screen, the computer, the Twitter, the Facebook, making graphics. And it does, and it changes us, and there's got to be a better way.
But and the thing is, we don't have any extra people to do all this work, and you just wind up going around the clock. And I do think something not good's going to happen on the back end of this. So there's no sleep, but it is what it is. I'm trying to adjust my diet, work out, do all I can, and on the weekend, I get some sleep. But now that it's football, don't get too much, but get a little bit. But again, I love to come to work every day. I love doing this show. I love being on television. I love interacting with people. I still love what I do, and I think that's part of it that keeps it good.
And we want you to do it for a very long time, so make sure you get some more sleep, because that is one of the most important things.
Yes, ma'am.
So, all right. As the mom of the group, I rest my case. And all right, so we thank our listeners for sending in that, and that's the only email I have tonight. So if you have an email, comment, suggestion, guest suggestion, or an idea about the show, go ahead and email us, email@weatherbrains.com. We appreciate your emails, and a lot of times that's how we get our show set up and our show titles and where we go with our guests. So if you do suggest a guest, don't forget to send in some contact information so our booking officer, Mr. Bill Murray, who disappeared, can hopefully locate and track down that person. So email@weatherbrains.com, and you can also follow us on the Twitter and the Facebook. And you might be off your Twitter tonight, but that's okay. Some of us are still sharing pictures of puppies and kittens and some fun weather stuff.
So who made Bill mad? Where did he go?
Yeah.
He just hung up on us.
What do you guys think about the Twitter sale, the potential?
Who's buying them? Is it
There's several,
not Zuckerberg.
No, there's several names come to the front. Salesforce is one, which would kind of be on trend if you considered, that Microsoft bought LinkedIn. I guess that makes some possible sense. Google is one. Nate posted somewhere an article that Disney was in talks exploring it, believe it or not.
What would be in their best interest to buy Twitter?
It's a distribution platform.
But why do you need to own it? I mean, I guess.
Well,
because you control it when you own it.
Then they can distribute things on it. I mean, why did the NFL go there? It's a distribution channel. And the article that he posted, I'll put it in the chat here in a minute, but the article that he posted suggested, again, you use the NFL example, but if you look at Disney, they continue to have, I don't want to call it strained relationships with the cable providers because that model is breaking down. Retransmission goes up and all those kinds of things. So if you get your own distribution platform, then you don't have to pay retransmission agreements or things like that. I after reading the article, I think it makes maybe some sense. But I think whatever happens, the current state, Twitter's not growing. I mean, it's adding a few, okay, but if you look at the growth curve, it is severely leveled off over the past 2 years, and then so if somebody's going to buy it, they're not going to sit around and just use it the way it's being used now. They're going to have to monitor. I mean, Twitter is not profitable. They don't make any money. They make money, but they're not profitable. So if somebody buys it, they're clearly going to have to pivot in some way, shape, or form to monetize that thing. And so that's going to make a fundamental shift in the use case. I mean, I can't imagine that they're going to, take away the opportunity for somebody to post, I'm eating cheese, but at the same level, that's of no value to anybody, especially a company that, and the market value on it now is thrown around anywhere between 14 and 16 or 19 billion dollars, which is ridiculous. But if they're going to get some multi-billion-dollar price for it, somebody's going to have to turn it into a fashion or into something that makes money, right?
Which is sad, because I like Twitter, and I like that it's not Facebook, and I don't want anyone messing with my tweets.
Right. So, but that's what's coming. Somebody's got to mess with it, and I get a little frustrated. Big surprise there. Mm-hmm. But what is their user base at now? 320, 330 million, maybe it's a little higher than that. But that's worldwide, right? I mean, we talk about putting our, weather stuff here and there, but I don't know what the user base number is in the United States, but if you consider that, 330 million people worldwide, that's not really that big.
We got to think Grandma and Grandpa went on Facebook, to stay in touch with family and friends, but Grandma and Grandpa they're not on Twitter.
No, in many cases, no. So
I sometimes wonder if we waste too much time on Twitter, because a lot of us spend a lot of time there, and there's a lot of people that are not there. I saw a note where there's better engagement on Instagram,
right?
Twitter.
No, that's why Facebook picked it up. That was the entree, and that's where people were going, and then needed to be able to look into people's lives so that they could track what they're doing, and that was the trend there because it was a growing thing.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I'm seeing while we're talking, so in fact, let me just we got to play this.
Let's get social with social media.
The one thing I'm seeing more and more TV stations, and this goes back to your old point, Kevin, is that we're giving our stuff away to Facebook and they make all the money. I've been noticing with these protests and breaking news, now TV stations are streaming it live on Facebook,
right?
Driving most of their live streaming audience to that platform.
Right.
And severe weather coverage, wall-to-wall tornado coverage. I would imagine we'll do it from here on out, and everybody's doing it, and it's the same problem you've said. We're giving it away, and Facebook's monetizing it.
Yeah, and the other problem on the Twitter thing is, I mean, it's kind of the two arguments for being there on both of the platforms is, okay, well, I get content back, right? I get flooding somewhere and somebody sends me a picture of it. Get it, got it, okay, fine to a point, but we missed the opportunity to have them do that directly to us. Maybe that wouldn't have worked. I don't know. But the other thing is I've lost my train of thought. We're using it as a sort of a notification system. But what's happening now, in my opinion, is that, let's stick with the weather people or news people as well. We're just posting stuff in order to hope that our name is going to be seen going by in somebody's stream, right? I mean, we goofed on the tracking thing a little bit. And that, by the way, was started by you, and I'm the one that takes all the heat for it. But you're the one that said this tracking thing is driving me crazy.
Yeah, WeatherBrains is tracking the tracker.
Yes. But for the record, James started that. Okay, but I'm the one that gets all the tracking notes. Thank you very much, and I probably brought that on myself.
You started the Tracky Award.
Yeah, I know, but anyway. We goofed on the tracking thing, but that was like, okay, I get it. Consultants, general managers telling you tracking fine. And it was fun, yada, yada, yada. But the thing that mystifies me now, I just completely don't get this, is the automated tweet that goes out from a number of people. And if you're doing this on, television weather person, I'm sorry, I'm not calling you out specifically, but these automated sunset and sunrise things with some piece of automated information on it are baffling to me. That, I guess we're going to have come up with a sunsetty award, because I don't get these tweets that said the sun just set in X city at 6:38 p.m. and then something else.
Yeah, I see a lot of
I
that.
noticed that too. I don't get it either.
They also use temperatures that they'll say it's warming up in X city. It's 90 degrees. It's all automated. And I don't know how they're doing that, but I don't like it. I'm not a big.
Well, I think the sunset thing must have come out of, and I don't know, but it must have come out of some sort of IFTTT thing, a recipe that somebody made. And here, look because a lot of this is experimentation, and okay, that's fine. But I'm just. Why do I have to process that going by? I followed you because I think you have some information, or you followed me, but to have to process that the sun set somewhere at a specific time in an automated tweet is just puzzling to me.
Yep. All right, let's do picks of the week here. I want to get this show out on time tonight. Mine, it is the site water.weather.gov/precip. As soon we'll get back into the heavy precipitation season. I think we've mentioned that in a while. It's a great site. Aubrey, what's your pick of the week?
Mine is the precipitable water. Apparently Sheldon follows me, and he's been sending back some really cool links. So there's some good satellite images that he's been sending. So one is a PWAT site, which is actually very cool tonight, showing all the moisture pumping into the southeast.
Cool. Kevin, what's your pick of the week?
I have a beautiful picture. It was posted on the NOAA website. It's a time-lapse image. So it's a bunch of images put together of a NOAA weather balloon being launched from the South Pole. And it's just gorgeous.
Cool. Yeah, I saw that. That is a very cool shot. All right, Brian Peters, what's your pick of the week?
Well, after the NWA meeting where I got to meet Aubrey and secondarily Tony Rice, but I like meeting Aubrey better. Tony, that's not an insult to you, but I know you'll take it that way.
I got to sit at Tony's table.
Oh, that's right. I did see a presentation on MPing, so I want to bring that to everybody's attention again. It's the crowdsourcing of weather information through the National Severe Storms Laboratory, and I use it myself, and I think everybody that's interested in weather should sign up for it. It's free. You can, it's very easy to use. You pick your report and send it in, and it's very helpful.
Awesome. All these picks will be up on the website, weatherbrains.com, but we got to wrap this one up, put a bow on it. We typically do the show every Monday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. Most people that watch live gather together at live.bigbrainsmedia.com, or you can watch it later on YouTube or whatever, weatherbrains.com. But the show notes, picks of the week, all those links are on weatherbrains.com. Also there, you'll find the ways to get in touch with us, our social media accounts, and the email for this show. Email at weatherbrains.com. The lovely Aubrey is our email officer, and she had to go do some television. But thanks to all for listening. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next week. God bless. All right,
I think AccuWeather's predicting the outcome of the presidential election too. Just
wow.
I had to.
All right. Yeah,
I saw somebody who said it went to Trump.
I've said, well, the left people think it goes to Clinton. The right wing people think it goes to. I mean, it's just. Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.